Hi, this is Frank Mir, and you're watching Everything Martial Arts. Talk about how Glenn or Roy and I have so many commonalities. You know, like our first time we fought, one of my groomsmen actually cornered against me with him because that's how close our circles are. His wife, my wife, Roy and I all worked together at the Rhino. They worked in the food and beverage area. We were security. And then even the week I found out that I was going to be fighting Roy, I was training with Glenn, who's his wrestling coach. And we're having talks like, oh, because he's a phenomenal wrestling coach. I'm like, hey, can you help me clean up my game? He's showing me head inside single. We're working. And then like the next couple of days I came back in. I'm like, well, I got to fight.
So Glenn, how were you able to do that?
I was able to do what? Oh, well, when I found out they were fighting, I've been coaching Roy for the last few years, so but I worked with Frank a little bit 8-10 years ago, and we lost each other.
Honestly, after this fight, we'll work together again. That's so yeah.
I'd love to.
So right now you're separate. You're not working together.
We're like that, like sometimes when married couples and someone gets a divorce, and like they got to take friends, like that's where we're at right now. But
we didn't cheat on each other, so so we're still friends.
We have a reconciliation coming afterwards. It's a small circle in Vegas, you know what I mean? Like nothing can happen in Vegas in the gym, and I don't care. We all hear about it. We all talk about it. It's like, oh, you know what I mean? Like there's not a lot of secrets, and there's not a lot of people in Vegas that live this type of lifestyle. So even if you don't eat lunch every day together, we still cross lines a lot.
So be it that there aren't a lot of secrets, how do you keep your secret about your fight strategy, or you just don't keep any secrets?
You don't. It's one of those things that, like, I know what Roy wants to do. Roy doesn't know what I want to do. That's why I hired the conditioning coach that I hired. It's really going to be about who's in shape and who can keep it going. The first one to want to, break from it is the one that's have a problem.
And so if you're cornering Roy right now, right, are you cornering him for this fight?
I am.
And you know that what Frank just said, it's about conditioning. So how conditioned are you guys?
It ended well. Our last training session, I put a thought in his mind.
Thoughts on that?
Well, that's why I'm a coach.
No, really, honestly, like his wrestling, even just the little bit he showed me that we got to work together before we found out, like I took that back to Syndicate and was taking everybody down with a head inside single now without going to my knee and just shorter distance on it and stuff. And then some of the foot positions he was working on, I just took it and really worked with it. So the only thing is, if I take Roy down with a head inside single on his left leg and pick him up, put him on his right leg, when I'm done, I'm going to just look over at Glenn and be like.
And what would your reaction to that be?
I think it's two old bulls that are going to hit each other, and I wish them both the best of luck.
What's also funny to me is several years ago I interviewed you, and you guys were on the same card, but you weren't fighting each other. I think you were fighting Overeem at the time. Yeah. I think so. And we had this great conversation, so I was so happy to see you here today. And I remember asking Roy Nelson about that, and he was, listen, I have great jiu-jitsu. Everybody forgets about it. It's just because I like the knockout, because I get more yays and hoorays when you knock somebody out. And now he's fighting somebody who is known to be one of the best jiu-jitsu practitioners in the sport. So do you think that affects the egos a little bit here, that it's like, how good are we on the mats together?
No, because we've rolled so many times together. I know how hard Roy is to submit. And I tell people this, Roy's fought the 4 best submission artists in the heavyweight division. Myself, Verdum, Barnett, and Nogueira. Nobody submitted him. He has 0 submissions against him on his record because he is a legitimate black belt in jiu-jitsu. The thing is that my athleticism allows me to be much more dangerous at submissions, where Roy, because of his shorter joints, his great center of gravity at his base, he doesn't go for them. He just sits there and goes, okay, I can block everything off and then beat you up.
Like when you're walking out there and you already know this person pretty intimately, do you have to get tricky?
No, and first I thought about that. Honestly, I was like, okay, well, if I know they know what I do well, so I'm going to try to do this or this. But then you're not doing things as well because you're not doing what you're good at. And so, honestly, I went back to doing a lot of submission training because in the Javi Ayala fight, my timing was off. I went to lock up a Kimura and it was off. It was just nothing was working right, and that's because I worked so much on my stand-up that I just wasn't drilling on the ground. So after that fight, I went back to Drysdale's and started rolling with Marcelo and Hafi and Drysdale, and now I feel like I have it back. I mean, even one of the last days he was on the mat with us, I sat on the mat and everybody that came through, I submitted everybody that walked in front of me, one after another. Just all right, let's go. Next. 6 months ago, I couldn't do that, and I had lost that ability. And I'm using.
What affects your timing? Was it a fitness thing, a burnout thing? Like what was affecting it?
Oh, just. Fight skills are perishable. People forget about that. If you haven't been doing that, you could be a great marksman. If you don't go to the range, your accuracy is going to drop. the good thing is once you have it, it's like jumping on a bicycle. It comes back relatively quick. But sitting there going, I just need to work on my stand-up, that was a mistake. It was an advantage to work on that, but it was a mistake to leave behind the jiu-jitsu. And now, so I worked at jiu-jitsu, and now my ground skills, I'm just as dangerous as I've ever been.